Hey people, so you find me on this cold autumn morn in my kitchen, and today I'm not going to be presenting products or recipes or food ideas as you've probably grown accustomed to, but something I take for granted and I don't necessarily share enough of as I think as the biggest indicator for good health. And I've said it before, it's connection to yourself. We all live such fragmented lives, checking one phone, checking one laptop, checking emails, checking in with all these other people, but are we checking in with ourselves? So for me, the most important thing you can do on a daily basis, on a multiple times throughout the day, is to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Are you in your body, or are you fairly cerebral, thinking about things and planning things? You know, not to diss thinking and planning, very essential, but first of all, to be more productive in the thinking and planning is to really check in with yourself and come back to your body. And the reason I think this is such a valuable thing to share with you is because it boosts digestion massively. To be in your body, to be in your digestion, to be in your stomach, to be grounded is going to help you assimilate much more nutrition, and it's going to help you digest much more smoothly. So I'm just going to share like a couple of minutes of what I do to check in with myself regularly. Probably not as regularly as I'd like, but really it's super simple, and you can modify, you can adapt. This is like a blueprint, and then you can add your own flavor. As with a lot of my recipes, it's just an idea, it's just a concept, and then you can activate and you can add your own take on things. But for me, not even talking about food today, but health really begins in the gut. And if you can take your awareness into your tummy, into that area, into the dandian, energy production is made a lot more available. We spill energy, literally burn off energy by sending it up our body and thinking, checking phones, checking appointments, checking, without actually checking in with ourselves. So I'd recommend just taking a slow, deep breath. Do this at your own pace. Just feel your feet on the floor. And I learnt this in the early days of my Qigong classes. Unless you're experienced in this field, you're not necessarily aware of what these different sensations and feelings should feel like in the body. So for me, I like to put opposites in play, and that gives you the context to know what to feel balanced is. So an example of this would be to tip forward onto your balls of your feet, onto the tips of your toes, and you feel like you're falling forward. Like I have this natural elevation, I'm like rising up and falling forward. Definitely unbalanced, and then sink into your heels, and I have this natural kind of sinking away, falling backwards effect. And so now I find a sweet spot in the middle, and you can see my breath automatically relaxed. I was stressed going forward. I guess I was stressed going backwards too. And then when I came to rest in the middle and my whole body could relax, my breathing then could become more natural. So we're going to do some culinary kung fu later, but for now this is the prerequisite for it. When you're going to chop your mushrooms, if you're coming to chop your onions, your leeks, whatever you're going to be preparing, just take a second to find that center, that really sweet balance point between the front and the back, somewhere in the middle. And every time I come back to that balance point, my breath just releases. I can feel things relaxing and releasing. And you want, again, to find a balance point between, it's traditionally thought of as a golden thread being suspended by this golden thread. You have the buoyancy of your head, this central point going upwards. So you have a buoyancy, so it's almost expanding upwards, but with this sinking feeling. So again, the two opposites. Your head is floating upwards with no real extra effort, just intention. The rest of your body relaxes downwards over your already balanced feet. And the one that's stuck with me from the early days is that your pelvis is like a flower, a hanging basket, and it's just rounded and level and hanging from this point here. And then if your pelvis is dropped down, your shoulders, your arms can relax just down to the side. And all this is done with minimal effort. And it shouldn't really take too long. But already, my bills, my appointments, my emails, my phone calls, all this organising stuff has become secondary, and the front or foreground awareness is more on the sensations within my body. And just always, with as light a touch as possible, come back to feeling balanced over those feet, slightly buoyant head, and just a relaxed body. And the last point of attention, like I said, is to draw your attention to your stomach, to your navel, just below your navel, your dantian, and just rest your awareness there. This is where the digestion is happening, not up here, not thinking about what's good to eat, thinking about what diet I'm following, thinking about what I need to do next, thinking, it's all going upwards. So there's this motion of sending energy downwards. Where attention goes, energy flows. So by putting attention in your lower belly, you're setting up a scenario that's going to increase digestive ability. Starting to feel much more grounded, much more strong in my legs and ready for the day. And this has probably taken me 3 or 4 minutes because I've been explaining it to you. As you practice this, every time you come to chop vegetables, every time you come to stir the soup, every time you come to make a cup of tea or coffee, whatever herbal number you're going for, just take those seconds to feel your feet. And initially, to start with, go forward, go back, and then find that sweet spot in the middle. And eventually, you'll just be able to click straight into that balance point with a heavy pelvis and a light head. And those 3 points in place allows you just to take a deep breath and relax and come back to yourself. And already I'm feeling much more ready for the day, much more ready for the meal I'm about to have, much more embodied. Try it, let me know how you feel, add your own variations. You know, it's really just about what works for you, finding that balance point, finding or becoming aware of the sensations that arise in your body, and relaxing, becoming more natural, allowing your breath to soften, which in turn allows for tension and relaxation within the body. And all that energy release that is being held in those tense points can be then directed and put to better use. Easier said than done, but less thinking today, people. The body awareness is much more important. It's going to help with digestion, it's going to help with energy levels. See how you go, peeps.